In Parshas Vayeira, Lot is once again the star of a major part of the Torah. Here we find him in Sodom just before Sodom gets destroyed. And the Chumash tells us about a very strange conversation that takes place between Lot and the Malachim. The angels, giving Lot the opportunity to escape before the city gets destroyed, they tell him that he has to flee to the mountain. And Lot's response is very fascinating. Behold, your servant has found grace in your eyes, found favor. And your chesed has been great, that which you've done with me to allow me to survive. But I'm not able to go flee to the mountain. Pentid bakani hara vamati, lest the evil cling to me and I die. What exactly does that mean? Lest the evil cling to me and I will die. Very strange statement that Lot makes. And Rashi explains in the name of the Bereshis Rabbah that Lot reasoned as follows. When I was among the people of Sodom, the Holy One, blessed be He, saw my deeds and the deeds of the people of the city, and I appeared righteous and worthy of being saved. But when I shall come alongside a righteous man, I shall be considered a wicked man. Now, who is that righteous man that lives at the top of the mountain? That would be Avraham Avinu. And according to this midrash, the evil that would be clinging to Lot would be the negative association with Abraham. He would be Abraham's spiritual foil. Now, there's obviously something really strange about Lot's theory of relativity. And that is that who says that everything is relative? Lot's whole logic is that, if I'm next to people from Sodom, I'm going to look great and then nothing bad will happen to me. And if I'm next to Avraham, by comparison, I'm going to look bad and therefore I will be in trouble. What is that supposed to mean? Is that how Hashem judges people? That you can fool God if you're just standing right next to the perfectly wrong crowd? What exactly does Lot mean? Who's Lot trying to fool? So, before we laugh at Lot and dismiss him, there is perhaps some kind of precedent to Lot's theory of relativity. And I believe we could find that precedent in an individual that's very similar to Lot, actually. There was another individual who experienced a similar situation where the entire society around him was destroyed. He was the lone survivor. He ended up getting drunk and even abused by his own progeny. Right, that was not only Lot, but that was also Noach. And we find very fascinatingly that Noach was compared to Avraham Avinu, where while he was on his own, he was Ish Tzadik Tamim Haya B'Darasav, Noach was a righteous man, and he was looked at as righteous, especially in comparison to the Dor HaMabul. But when the Midrash compares him to Avraham, that's the only time we ever find any fault in Noach. And that seems like a great precedent for what Lot's saying, that I don't want to be anywhere near Avraham because then I will be reflected on in a negative light. And so this really begs the question. Right, Lot has this great case study from Noach that Hashem seems to judge in a relative fashion, depending on, what your surroundings look like, what your environment looks like. So Lot says, I'm only safe next to the people of Sodom. If I go near Avraham, I'm going to look bad. So, why was Lot wrong? Don't we have this exact depiction of Noach? And I think a very simple and important but subtle answer to this question is the ability for Lot to make the choice that Noach never had the opportunity to make. And that is, where do I want to place myself? Right? Pented bakani haravamati, yes, the evil will cling itself to me, but what if you have the choice to put yourself in a place where you can be inspired by people who are greater than yourself, where you could choose to be, like it says in Pirkei Avos, to be the tail of a lion and not the head of a fox. Noach lived in his generation, and he could not place himself in a different generation. Whereas Lot, he had the choice. Do you want to be next to Abraham? Do you want to be inspired by people who are greater? Or do you want to just keep your standards as the highest they can be? We don't really know, but as long as they're not going to be lower than the person below you. Is that a way to live? That would be the equivalent of, instead of putting pictures of Gedolim up on your walls, you're going to put pictures of Hollywood celebrities up on your walls. And then you'll look at those pictures every single day, and you'll say, I'll never be as low as this person. That's not a way to grow. That you're going to judge your spiritual growth based on everyone who's below you instead of those who are above you. So, says Hashem to Lot, essentially, don't fool yourself, because you're not fooling me. The evil will cling itself to you as long as you're not doing what you're supposed to do. In a certain respect, everything is relative, but that's when Hashem has decided that this is where your circumstances are, and you can't do anything about it. But if you have the choice, you have to constantly be going up in Ruchnius and not staying stagnant.